In the headlines, ASU to begin 2-week warning strike Monday. FG warns of more devastating floods in FCT, 7 other states. Fuel scarcity worsens in Sokoto despite suspension of Pengassan strike. And on the foreign scene, Cameroonians head to polls as President Biya seeks 8th term. Hello and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I am Mariam Idris. The details. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has directed all its branches nationwide to begin a total indefinite 2-week warning strike starting tomorrow, Monday. ASU President Professor Chris Piwuna announced the decision during a press briefing at the union's National Secretariat at the University of Abuja on Sunday. He said the strike followed the federal government's failure to address long-standing demands of the union, which include issues of funding for public universities, unpaid allowances, and the implementation of past agreements. Professor Piwuna described the action as necessary to compel the government to do the needful, adding that university lecturers have been patient for too long. The strike is expected to disrupt academic activities across public universities nationwide as the union mobilizes its members for full compliance.
A briefing of the 29th September 2025. The NEC meeting decried the neglect of the university system and government's consistent refusal to hit its demand.
On a similar story, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has expressed deep concern over the growing brain drain in Nigeria's public universities, revealing that 309 professors have resigned within the past 9 months in search of better opportunities abroad. ASU Zonal Chairman for Sokoto, Kebbi, Zamfara and Katsina states, Abubakar Sabo, described the situation as an intellectual hemorrhage, threatening the survival of the system. ASU accused the government of neglecting key reports and failing to honor previous agreements, while inflation and weak salaries continue to push senior academics out of the country. Now, in a significant return of peace to once bandits invaded communities of the Musa local government area of Katsina State, schools, health facilities, markets, courts and roads that were forced to close have been reopened. The Musa local government has grappled with insecurity which affected livelihoods, social and economic well-being of residents for decades. Abdullahi Yamadi visited the Musa local government area recently to assess the peace deal signed between communities and the repentant bandits. His report.
The menace, which is the worst phenomenon ever experienced by residents, dragged every aspect of human endeavors to its knees. However, at the moment, roads and communities that were once inaccessible have been reopened, with people going about their routine activities across the area without hindrance. For instance, this is the 20-kilometer Entumaki-Damusa road, which was once one of the most dangerous routes in Katsina State. Many people have been killed, several others abducted along this road in recent times. Months ago, no one dares ply this road at odd hours. In fact, at many instances, it was declared closed due to frequent onslaught on motorists and other road users. From Entumaki, Damusa, to Marar Katsinawa up to Runka village in Safana local government area, about 45 kilometers. The common sight is large herds of livestock grazing, a practice which was impossible a few months ago. We have witnessed a significant commitment by the repentant bandits. Health facilities, schools, roads and markets that were once closed due to banditry have been reopened. To us, It is a moment of joy. It is a renewed hope to all of us. Now we are free to go to farms and markets. The repentant bandits are free to move across towns and villages of the area without hindrance. This is coming as fear still occupied the mind of some residents. Trust TV News crew also visited some settlements deep inside Rugu Forest, which were once bandits' enclaves, precisely at Maigezoji area. From the heart of Damusa town to the remote corner of Maigezoji is about 15 kilometers drive, which took us about an hour due to bad roads. The entire area was under the control of this bandit's kingpin, popularly known as Tahiru, who once operated around Damusa and some parts of Kankara local government areas. I can tell you, without mincing words, that this is the best peace deal. I can see sincerity from both sides, unlike before. Eager to return to school, children were seen taking lessons at an Islamia school constructed by the federal government under the Ruga project during the former administration of late President Muhammad Buhari. Trying to recover from the past, putting the memories of the ugly incidents behind, residents are calling on the government to urgently fulfill its own parts of promises to both the affected communities and repentant bandits, which is key to ensuring lasting peace. Abdullahi Izmayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Now, police in the Federal Capital Territory have foiled an attempted kidnap and arrested 4 suspects during a late-night operation in Abuja. A statement by FCT police spokesperson SP Josephine Ade said the suspects, Solomon Tanko, Samuel Audu, Chigozie Joseph and Emmanuel Chidebere, were arrested in Dape village in the early hours of October 9th, following a distress call received by the Life Camp Police Division around 10 p.m. The previous night, the caller, a woman, had reported being abducted by hoodlums who demanded a 1 million naira ransom. Police operatives quickly tracked the suspect, rescued 2 victims and engaged the criminals in a confrontation that led to their arrest. One of the victims, who sustained multiple stab wounds, is receiving treatment at Gwarimpa General Hospital. The FCT Commissioner of Police commended the officers for their swift response and urged residents to remain vigilant and report any suspicious movement to security agencies. He reaffirmed the command's commitment to the safety and protection of all Abuja residents. Now, troops of Operation Hatinkai Joint Task Force in the Northeast has neutralized 9 Boko Haram terrorists and recovered 5 million naira ransom money during a patrol in Magumeri local government area and Gajiram, the headquarters of Nganzai local government area. A statement on Saturday by the media information officer of the Joint Task Force Operation Hatinkai, Lieutenant Colonel Sani Uba, said in continuation of ongoing counter-terrorism operations in the Northeast, troops of OPHK conducted a successful fighting patrol in response to credible intelligence on the movement of Boko Haram terrorists around Goni Dunari in Magumeri local government area of Borno State on October 10, 2025. Uba said the terrorists, reportedly moving on 2 vehicles and 24 foot fighters, were observed setting houses ablaze and terrorizing locals and acting swiftly. The troops launched an aggressive onslaught to intercept the threat. He said as troops advanced towards the objective, the terrorists attempted to flee towards Damjiakari village, adding that vehicle-borne fighters dispersed to an unknown location, while foot fighters were pursued over a distance of approximately 92 kilometers. The OPHK spokesman said after about 4 hours of tactical pursuit, troops established contact with the fleeing terrorists, noting that a frontal attack was immediately launched and troops engaged the terrorists with a heavy barrage of fire, resulting in the neutralization of 5 terrorists, as the remaining 19 dispersed in disarray, while some were wounded as blood trails were observed at the contact scene. Now, the Minister of Works, David Umahi, has ordered the withdrawal of the Abuja-bound carriageway of the ongoing Mararaba-Kefi Road reconstruction project from China Harbour Engineering Company Limited. The report.
Umahi, while inspecting the project on Saturday, expressed displeasure, citing poor performance and disregard for directives. He stated that the 43.65-kilometer dual carriageway would now be handled by local contractors to ensure speed and quality delivery. Umahi says the ministry has now directed that as a matter of policy, every project site must ensure that the entire stretch of the route is not encumbered by potholes or other defects.
When they are working, let them use a stone base to make up the carriageway. Then later we can mill and then so on this, the outer shoulder that is going to give you, okay? Now, you find out there is a very sharp slope. So we are going to use, curb. But I wouldn't want to use the kind of curb that China Harbour is using. Those small curbs. They have to go and bring the machine and lay the curb.
Meanwhile, the minister expressed disappointment at Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde's criticisms of the cost per kilometer of federal roads, insisting that the ministry's figure was transparent and backed by sound engineering principles.
There is no ambiguity in cost per kilometer, but I'm teaching them that cost per kilometer could be divided into estimated cost, which has elements of variance, and then average cost, which is definitive. That is what it is.
Umahi also addressed the persistent traffic congestion along Abuja-Mararaba-Kefi Highway, saying that the federal government would work with the Nasarawa state government to remove roadside trading and illegal structures.
The Federal Capital Territory FCT has been prominently placed on an additional flood alert issued by the Federal Ministry of Environment, National Flood Early Warning Center. The alert, which was issued through a circular signed by the Director, Erosion, Flood and Coastal Zone Management Department of the Ministry, Usman Abdullahi Bokani, also placed 7 other states on its watch list. The 7 other states are Adamawa, Anambra, Enugu, Rivers, Delta, Kebbi and Taraba. The FCT and the other states were said to be in addition to the flood prediction of October 9th, which the center said due to their locations and environs were to experience heavy rainfall that may lead to flooding between October 11th and 13th. Mabushi, Mararaba, Yanya, Wuse 1 and 2, Kuje, Guzape and Garki 1 and 2 were placed on high alert in the FCT. Now, this is the news update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Fuel scarcity worsens in Sokoto despite suspension of Pengassan strike. More to come after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news update on Trust TV. Now, let's take a look at our top stories again. ASU to begin 2-week warning strike Monday. FG warns of more devastating floods in FCT, 7 other states. Now, moving on to more stories. Fuel scarcity has continued to cripple business and social activities in Sokoto metropolis, despite the suspension of the 3-day strike by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, Pengassan. Most filling stations remain closed, while the fuel dispensing sell petrol between 960 naira and 970 naira per litre. Even NNPC retail outlets across the city were not selling as of Saturday. At the black market, fuel prices have surged to as high as 1,250 naira per litre, forcing motorists to buy from roadside vendors. Residents accuse marketers of hoarding the product to exploit the situation, while normal supply is yet to resume days after this strike suspension. Now, Kaduna State Governor Uba Sani has met with the Minister of Works, Senator David Umahi, to conduct a comprehensive review of the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano Expressway project with a renewed push for its speedy completion. The strategic meeting held in Abuja focused on accelerating work on the Abuja-Jere-Kaduna segment, a vital route serving millions of Nigerians daily for mobility, trade and social connection. Governor Sani described the highway as more than just a transportation link, calling it a national artery, essential to the socio-economic integration of northern Nigeria. He noted that the project aligns with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, aimed at modernizing infrastructure and driving national competitiveness. In response, Senator Umahi commended Governor Sani's proactive engagement and advocacy, reaffirming the federal government's determination to complete the project in record time. He disclosed that contractors have been instructed to work double shift to fast-track progress without compromising quality. In a major boost to agricultural development and entrepreneurship, the Jigawa State Governor has signed a landmark Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) with Agri-Girl Services Limited of India for the implementation of the Jigawa Agri-Business Incubation Program. The report.
The agreement, described as a transformative step for the state's agri-business ecosystem, was signed in the presence of Governor Umar Namadi with the Managing Director of the Jigawa Investment Promotion Agency, Invest Jigawa. Representing the state government, while Soumi Sunkara, Chief Executive Officer of Agri-Gar Service Limited, signed on the behalf of the Indian company. The MOU follows the comprehensive feasibility study conducted by Agri-Gar, which provided a detailed roadmap for implementing the program across the state. The initiative aims to transition Jigawa's agricultural sector from subsistence farming to a modern, profitable, and market-driven agribusiness model. Under the agreement, the Jigawa Agribusiness Incubation Program will train 10,000 entrepreneurs, with at least 50% of the beneficiaries being women, in a deliberate effort to promote inclusive growth and gender balance. The program also targets the establishment of 500 new agribusiness SMEs, the creation of 15 new value-added agricultural products annually, and the development of 3 operational clusters that will serve as hubs for agro-processing, training, and innovation. Officials estimated that the initiative will create over 2,000 new jobs each year, boosting economic activity and income generation across rural communities in the state. Speaking at the event, Governor Umar Namadi reaffirmed his administration's commitment to transforming Jigawa into a leading agri-business hub in Nigeria.
And the name of Jigawa will be not only in Nigeria, but outside Nigeria. Because the products that will be produced as made in Jigawa will move far beyond our thinking. And one interesting thing, all these things is going to be done by the local people, by especially the women. I think this is something that we don't need to think twice in going into it. Because that is exactly our vision. How do we empower the people at the rural community? And the entire program of Agriga is empowering the people at the local community, especially the women and the youth.
The CEO of Agrigar, Soumi Sunkara, commended Jigawa State for its strategic approach to agricultural reform, noting that the project would integrate technology, training, and value addition to unlock the full potential of the state's agricultural resources.
So this is the bigger vision what we have, sir. The brand would be the Jigawa Mart. We want to start off with the Duse market first, and we also want to start off with other markets which are available across. Maybe we'll also go out of state and say to publicize, to brand ourselves in Kano, Abuja, and everywhere. So the Jigawa Mart would be there, where these local products will be placed, because when we are complying with all the licenses, with everything, they can actually be there. And simultaneously, they also sees motivation when they come and visit the city that this is made by us. So that actually will be a lot of inspiration for them to come forward. This is the next steps. What we are, the first thing is like baseline and all these yesterday we have mentioned, and we want to actually make this Made in Jigawa brand.
With this MOU, Jigawa State is set to become a model for agribusiness-driven development in Nigeria, linking farmers to markets, fostering innovation and creating sustainable livelihood for thousands of its citizens.
And now to business news. The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has warned that tax evasion and other financial malpractices are not only illegal but a disservice to Nigeria's development. The acting zonal director of the EFCC Kano's Directorate, Saad Hanafi, made this known during a one-day sensitization workshop organized jointly by the EFCC, the Nigeria Customs Service, and the Kano Chamber of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. Hanafi said such illegal practices deprive the nation of critical revenue needed for infrastructure and social services. He noted that the Commission, in collaboration with sister agencies, is using intelligence and technology to tackle financial crimes and promote trade compliance. Also speaking, the Zonal Coordinator of Customs Zone B, Nsikan Umo, highlighted the deployment of advanced tools such as artificial intelligence, data analytics, and trade facilitation systems under the leadership of Controller General Bashir Adeniyi. She said the initiative aligns with President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda aimed at achieving sustainable economic prosperity through transparency and accountability. And away from Nigeria, voting began Sunday as Cameroon holds presidential elections, which 92-year-old Paul Biya, the world's oldest serving head of state, is expected to win, extending his already 43-year grip on power. Biya faces 11 opponents, including former Employment Minister Issa Chiroma Bakari, 79, who has generated unexpected enthusiasm among voters in the Central African nation, where half the population is under 20. The 8 million Cameroonians who are eligible to vote in the one-round election have for the most part only known one ruler in their lifetime. Biya has been in power since 1982 and has won every election in the past 20 years by more than 70% of the ballot. But he said that the campaign in recent days had been much livelier than was usually the case at that stage. Biya has kept his customary low profile during the campaign, appearing in public on Tuesday for the first time since May, looking visibly fit. And in sports news, ahead of their crucial 2026 Women's African Cup of Nations WAFCON qualifier, the Benin Football Federation has confirmed that the Cheetahs will host Nigerian Super Falcons in Lomé, Togo. The decision comes after Benin failed to secure approval for any of their home stadiums from the Confederation of African Football, CAF. As a result, the federation opted to play its home fixtures at the Stade de Kigo in Lomé. The first leg of the second-round qualifier will be held in Togo later this month, while the return leg will take place 4 days later in Nigeria. The aggregate winner over the two legs will advance to the 2026 WAFCON finals, which will be staged in Morocco. The Super Falcons are the defending champions and will be aiming to continue their dominance on the continent. And with that, we have come to the end of the news update on Trust TV. Do not forget to follow us across all our media platforms and join our YouTube live stream for more news. I am Maria Medrez. Thanks for watching.